on, guys, let's go.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. And last year we celebrated the 75th anniversary of the formation of the International Brigades in Spain. And I had the wonderful opportunity to join many of you here in going. And when we went, part of the celebration was organized by ASER, which is the French representatives of those people from France who joined the International Brigades. And they kept inviting us, and they said, well, you must come in September to France to celebrate the Festival of l'Humanité. L'Humanité is the French counterpart of the People's World magazine. And all they had to do was ask me one more time to come to France, and I don't care about the language barrier. Of course, there I was. And these were actually people who, these were my hosts and companions and guides who I had met in Spain. And our theme today seems to be these remarkable people that we met. This is Angel and Antonio Campos from the ASER delegation, and they were the people who invited me. And as I got to know their history, as the history is, their personal histories were intertwined with the brigades, with the Spanish Maquis, with the French resistance. And so I want to share that with you so that they can be your guides too, because in the things they showed me, it made it so meaningful that they actually created this history. And our other person who joined us, that some of you who were in Spain last year may remember meeting, was Cristina Ruiz Espinosa. She is maybe the next generation of exiles. She's 46, lives in Holland, where many Spaniards came for economic reasons, but she came with the descendants of the Hans Beimler battalion, the Dutch people who participated in the Spanish Civil War. And I have to say, when our delegation wore things that said, like Sue's wearing, Sue Yellen is wearing.
Here I am.
We're playing musical chairs today. And we were wearing things that said Abraham Lincoln Brigade. And when she saw that, she literally teared up and had this spontaneous reaction, because her father in the 1960s had been a political prisoner of Franco's, and actually one of the big initiatives of the veterans at the time was to raise funds and provide funds for the Spanish political prisoners, and her father had received clothing from us. In the background, this is actually an article about his imprisonment. This is her father, Rafael Ruiz. Cristina was actually 4 years old when she answered the door, and the notorious civil guard came and to arrest her father. And they came in, they said, we're taking your father for a walk. And there he is in prison in Burgos. And actually, he resisted the tremendous pressure they would put on prisoners to name names and form, and he endured 17 days of torture and interrogation and never gave up anyone. And I think there's also, this is him present day, with the historical recuperation of Historical Memory Association giving his name. And when I mentioned to Cristina that I was going to be meeting with the friends and family of the Abraham Lincoln Brigade, she was so honored that I was going to be sharing his story. She really had that kind of respect and affection for us. And there's her family posing back in Holland against the Spanish Republican flag. And I have to say, these T-shirts that she and her husband are wearing, when we went to the Festival of l'Humanité, and at every booth there are booths from communist parties from around the world. And of course my guides led me to the Spanish booth, where we got these T-shirts of the International Brigades, you can't see the writing in the middle. That's in English, and it's taken from the monument in Seattle, Washington, to the Abraham Lincoln Brigade. We didn't produce this. This was it was the only T-shirt in the Spanish pavilion there, which actually had a particular battalion or brigade mentioned, and it was the Abraham Lincoln Brigade, which again, you know, showed the affection they had for us. Her sons didn't want to be left out, so they got into the photo too. But so I wanted to let Chris know. In fact, this morning she emailed me and she said, "Good luck, tell me all about it," because she was so honored that I'd be sharing her father's story. And you can, in fact, Chris got us these scarves as soon as we came in, of course, said they were the flag of the Republic, and put them on all of us. And you can see the first day there at our excursion, Angèle had saved her FAO button, her friends and family button, from the anniversary, and took it out in honor of the American invasion, my visit. But what she also took out the first day I was there, she had archived scrapbooks going back to 1939 of, I think there's another one, of her family's. I mean, yes, she had other scrapbooks of the grandchildren, which most people take out, but this was scrapbooks, archives of her family's political history. And I can just skim the surface of it, but she is half French and half Spanish. Her mother was a nurse, actually, in Spain for the Republic at a hospital called the Republic of, called the Hospital of Blood. And she met her father. He was wounded twice at University City in Madrid, where the new monument is. He fought with the 14th Brigade of Spain. Those are his identity cards, and the mixed battalion of French and Spanish. This is a card also because he was also a partisan in France. This is his Association Nationale of the Veterans and French Partisans in the interior. And what Angèle explained is that when the veterans came back from the brigades, or the exiles came back from the Republican Army, they knew they were immediately going to be engaged in just the next battle against fascism, which in their case took the form of many acts of sabotage and resistance. And in fact, go back. This is just something about the Spanish Maquis in the southwest of France. And this is, of course, where they came over the Pyrenees in reverse, in exile, where no Allied armies have ever fought. The Spanish Maquis liberated more than 17 towns, which is a quote from Martha Gellhorn. And her father, as a matter of fact, also, besides the many bridges that she said he blew up and participated in, and her mother in the Pyrenees went to live as a recluse so that she could monitor the materiel that they were transporting and to protect it. In the film you just saw of the IBMT march, they stopped at Las Islas, right at the frontier. And you saw on either side where they did the readings. Luckily, we were not in the rain. We were there in glorious sunny September. But at that monument, which in one half was to the brigades and the other to Spanish resistance and the Spanish exiles, is a plaque, and it's the only plaque really to individuals. That's her father, Émile Sabatier, and that's her mother, Angèle Morabois. And they also had their ashes combined at the Pyrenees and intertwined on both sides of it, because that's what their lives really represented. And Angèle said that at this most recent commemoration for the liberation of France this year, the French government had always had a rule that only the French flag could be flown. They made an exception in recognition of the tremendous role played by the Spanish exiles and international brigade veterans in actually defending France and in the liberation. And so the Republic's colors flew alongside the French in the liberation ceremony. And her mother, by the way, was written up in a book by Tommaso Cuevas called Women in Franco's Prisons. And she was imprisoned even before that, and I think it awaits kind of a Hollywood movie like a Lucille Breck or something, which Hollywood is the only word Antonio knows in English. But so and wow, so I think there should be a Hollywood script and wow about their families.